Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's McReapers, and today we're going to be doing a full review on Anime Vanguards since it's been 3 months now since the game has fully released. And at this point, we kind of know what to expect from the game moving on, so that's why I feel like this is kind of the proper time to do this. So, without further ado, let's get right into the video. The first thing I want to talk about is the story mode in this game, because I feel like that's kind of maybe not the biggest thing in this game, but definitely something that needs to be talked about. And that's because I feel like this is probably one of the stronger things in this game, since every single map and story currently has, its own unique map design, unique enemies, unique boss, unique map mechanics, like in the solo leveling map, the different statues, as well as in the Shibuya map, or well, I guess technically Shibuya train station map with Maito, as well as the fact that every single story map has its own soundtrack, which is kind of, I guess, a cool feature. That being said, I'm also kind of mentioning legend stages here. Is kind of where I wanted to put them, because legend stages are kind of just essentially an extension of the actual story modes, except you get different items. And for the most part, it's going to be the same thing that I already said about the story modes. Unique mechanics, unique enemies, unique bosses, which is all really good things. The only problem is currently there's only 4 story mode maps and 3 legend stages. So it is going to lose a few points because I can't really say that, every single map they add from here on out is going to be of the same quality as these first few. So my overall score for this is going to end up being a 9 out of 10. Um, and I feel like everything which the story mode in this game is really good, except for the fact that there is a lack of total story modes and legend stages as of right now. The next category we have here is going to be, I'm going to call it, I guess, content. Is the best way I want to put this, and this is going to be kind of like, what's available in the game, so like what type of like stages and what you can do. And I think as a new player, there is actually quite a bit of content for them. You have things like story mode, which there are a few of, and there's enough for a new player. You also have raids, challenges, weekly tournaments, Paragon, infinite modes, and occasionally boss raids, which I'll kind of talk about here in a little bit. So, as I said, there is quite a decent amount of content for new players, but the problem is once you get caught up, there isn't a whole lot to do. It ends up just being really repetitive grinds. So it's just definitely going to lose a lot of points just because there isn't a lot of end game playability right now. Which is why this category is going to end up giving itself a 6 out of 10, because for new players, there's a lot. For people who are caught up, there isn't a whole lot. And for a lot of people, you end up macroing the game. So I can't really give it anything really higher than a 6 as of right now. The next thing I want to kind of bring up is the units and, like, I guess what I would call the unit system this game has. And overall is, I think, really good. On release, there was a pretty wide variety of units that you could summon for, with different rarities ranging from rares all the way up to secrets. And obviously, the nice thing about this game is that all the units have really, really, I feel like, really good attack effects for the most part. And another really nice thing about this is I think this is the first game to have it so that, well, maybe not the first game. I think there's maybe one other tower defense game I can think of where essentially every single unit kind of has its own unique passive, kind of making every single unit, even rare ones, kind of their own unique unit, which is always nice. And another thing to mention is that a lot of the mythic units and exclusive units in this game have evolutions, so there's more things you can do with them that oftentimes give them a different amount of, or not different amount, but often the exclusive units and secret units end up giving cosmetics that you can wear. So that's another thing to consider. Now, here comes the part where I wasn't really sure I wanted to include it in the unit category, and that's going to kind of be the balancing and stats of the units, which is going to really hurt this rating because the balancing of the stats in this game is not good. I feel like at all. Typically with tower defense games, how it works is that newer units and newer updates typically do more damage than old units, but this game has struggled with that significantly, and it has made a lot of people mad. It's a kind of a big problem when you release an update and within 3 days, every single new unit gets a damage buff. That is not a good look whatsoever, especially for a newer game. So that's why the units are going to get a 7 out of 10. It might be a little bit harsh. I think maybe the balancing won't be as bad from here on out, but that is definitely a big problem. And if they don't fix that, that will definitely be a problem that will continue to occur. Now I want to talk about the actual kind of gameplay of this game, because we kind of talked about kind of what game modes you had, but I didn't really get into like what it actually consists of. So Anime Vanguards is a tower defense game, which if you didn't know, you place down units to defeat enemies and prevent them from attacking your base. That's essentially like tower defense game. That is what this game. And through this, you unlock different levels and things that maybe require you to have stronger units, which is where evolutions come into play. Evolutions are a way to make your units stronger. That being said, in this game, getting evolutions is very grindy and tedious. Yo, it's Post McCreepers here, and I kind of want to talk about like what I mean by tedious here. So real quick, let's look at Dio here, because that's who I showed on screen. You can see these are all the requirements. So you have 40 of these green essences, which you can get from legend stages, which you get 1 to 3, which take around 5 minutes. So if you're really unlucky, it could take you multiple hours alone just to get all the green ones, as well as all these other shards that you end up, or essence stones you end up needing. Because in order to make one of these, you need 3 greens, like right here, and then you need 1 of every single one to get a rainbow one. That being said, there are challenges, but they only occur every 30 minutes. And that's just to get the shards or essence stones. Then you also still need to get the item itself, which as you go over here, it's in a raid shop. And you still need to get 600 of these coins, which at most you can get, as you look here, 50 from this stage that you can do 5 times a day. So you can get around 270 from these, and then you have to do these. But the problem is this one alone takes around 9 minutes. Well, actually, you can see here, I guess 7 minutes. So let's say 7 minutes for both of these, and you still end up having to do like another few hours of grinding for that. I'll put on screen real quick how much time it would actually take to do it all. Also, that's a lie. I'm not going to do the math, but you get the point. It takes a lot of time if you don't macro it. But typically, it does take a lot of time. And the nice thing about it is that typically most evolutions are pretty good and typically worth the grind. I can't say that for all units, but that's most likely typically. There are various amounts of, certain stages being difficult. Like we have tournaments every week, which typically require you to use specific teams. And maybe what's like new status effects on enemies require you to use specific teams in order to counteract them. So there is a little bit of variety in the gameplay. However, the gameplay is repetitive. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So I'm going to end up giving this category a 5 out of 10 because I feel like there is a little bit of variety here and there, but at the end of the day, it's really repetitive and not a lot of people tend to like it. So it's getting a 5. And moving on from the gameplay, we are going to move on to enjoyability. And if you haven't kind of realized, I kind of set this video up kind of talking about the better things about this game and slowly kind of talking about the worst things about this game. And enjoyability is definitely a problem. The problem with the tower defense game like this is that you're essentially playing it for dopamine rush. For those of you who don't understand what that means, essentially you're playing to work towards a certain goal, and once you get that goal, you get a massive influx of enjoyment and excitement, but it quickly disperses because then you end up having to end up grinding over and over and over again for more stuff. And the problem is too is that this game is grindy, and the game is not fun when people are macroing it almost all the time. And that's where the problem is. So this game is only going to get a 3 out of 10 for enjoyment, since there is no real enjoyment. You get enjoyment from maybe being a hard stage, maybe unlocking a new rare unit, maybe getting a good trait. That is all the enjoyment you get from this game. Other than that, if you ask most tower defense players, they are spending most of their time repeating the same stage trying to get some sort of currency or unit, which is not fun. All right, let's get into a part that I'm sure most of you guys are expecting is going to be the updates. Before I get into this, I am not a fan of the updates or the devs that we have for this game whatsoever. So this will be rather harsh. That being said, it will be still rated fairly. As of right now, 3 months post release, we have gotten 5 updates and 1 main update. What do you mean, you may ask? We got an update 0.5, 1, 1.1, 1.5, and now 1.75 recently. The problem is that the many updates we get in between do not add a lot of content. And the problem is we've been waiting 2 months since update 1 to get update 2. All right, so what? You got many updates along the way. Be happy. Okay, typically, yes, but the problem is that the devs themselves have stated that these mini updates are working. The main updates, like update 1 and 2, are worked on by one team, and the main updates are worked on by another team. It's been 2 months since we've been waiting for a full update. And these mini updates only add maybe at most, I would say, a week worth of content. It's been 2 months and we gotten 3 updates. That is not acceptable. Another thing I will kind of want to touch upon is that during update 1, it was a Jujutsu Kaisen update. The 2 headliners were Gojo and Sukuna. Upon release, Sukuna wasn't in the game for another week until it dropped with update 1.1, which was a reused raid update with a different map. Yeah. So this is going to get a 4 out of 10 for updates since the content is typically pretty good. I'm just not happy with consistency and just the overall lack of conversation and communication with the community. All right, let's get back on maybe more positive note. Next up, I'm going to talk about the quests and achievements in this game, which I feel are quite good. That being said, it's kind of hard to mess up quests and achievements. Currently right now we have weekly and daily quests that refresh daily and weekly, which give all right rewards for what they are. That being said, we don't have that many refreshable quests. So instead, we have permanent quests, which are called achievements. These achievements are really what we want to focus on, since they give really good rewards and really unique rewards, and kind of have you working towards something. And a lot of these achievements give plenty of rewards like trait rerolls, currency, emotes, mounts, all those things people kind of care about, which is good. And which is why I think they did a pretty good job with their achievement system. My biggest gripe with it, though, is that currently you are soft locked out of certain achievements because you require the limited time event of boss rushes, which isn't in the game right now, but is needed for damn near 8 achievements. Other than this, and a lack of maybe refreshable quests like the dailies and weeklies, which they could add maybe infinite ones every day, I do enjoy it. So that's why I'm giving it 8 out of 10. It's a pretty good system. I'm not mad with it. Alright, so at this point, we're kind of running out of things to kind of talk about for this game. There are a lot of miscellaneous features I will kind of go through now, which are the trait rerolls and stat reroll systems, which are both fleshed out to extent I feel like are pretty good since you can get a lot of the trait rerolls even if you're free to play. There's a battle pass system which has a free and premium edition, but the premium does seem to be a one-time purchase, which is always nice. There are also a lot of quality of life um, features in this game, which are really good, and some games has even I feel like directly copied from Anime Vanguards. There are also various different types of shops that allow you to get some of the resources that are typically hard to grind for evolutions. And there's obviously the index system, which I feel is quite nice since it gives you a good way, since a good, an easy way of seeing what all of the enemy you have killed and all the units you have and what you still need to work on. But that about covers all the miscellaneous things in this game, which I'm not really going to give a rating on since it would be kind of unfair because they're kind of just there. They don't add a whole lot to the game, but they're just there. So, and there's things that I kind of wanted to mention since they are somewhat important. So in this video, I discussed 7 different features and kind of gave my opinion on all of them. And when you average all of it out, you end up getting a 6 out of 10, which is a fair review, I feel like, in rating of Anime Vanguards right now. The game isn't great. At the end of the day, it's a tower defense game, and only been out for 3 months. It may be better, but I do feel like the devs are holding this game back a lot, which is my own opinion, but please feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you made it this far, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.